Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. Before I really kick off and do much more or say much more about this channel, I do want to acknowledge all Indigenous peoples, their leaders, past, present, and emerging. My reason why I'm wanting to start off with that, and also doing this acknowledgement of country, especially the Ngunnawal people with which this particular episode is being filmed upon, is largely due to this being the Indigenous round of a lot of the football leagues here in Australia, and what's going to be extra special coming up in roughly 2 weeks perhaps, especially specifically the 3rd of June this year, is the acknowledgement and celebration, finally a celebration, proper celebration, where it's the 30-year anniversary of the Mabo decision, where that had been a very long fight for Indigenous peoples here in Australia to actually finally acknowledge by white Australians that the Indigenous peoples were the first peoples here in Australia, and acknowledgement of their ownership isn't the right word for the Indigenous peoples here in Australia, that they are the original caretakers of this land, of Australia. So I'll go into a bit more detail of that in future episodes as we get closer to the 3rd of June. But it's something that is super important for me to start acknowledging the Indigenous peoples and all of the contributions that they have made to Australia over the 20,000 plus years that they've been here in Australia, and what they're doing now and what they're going to be doing into the future as well. That it's phenomenal. So thank you for letting me stumble through that. My apologies to any Indigenous peoples who are watching this particular episode, and my apologies for fumbling through those words. It's something that I'm still getting used to saying, and it's something that I want to get used to saying as well. So thank you. Thank you for your patience on this one. So in terms of, I guess, this episode, it's been a while since we've caught up, so I'm hoping to be as concise as I possibly can, because I'm feeling a bit tired. I'd like to think that I've gotten over the cold that I got a couple of weeks ago, probably nearly 3 weeks ago now, but I'm still having my moments of just feeling really tired and drained, but we'll get into that a little bit more. There's a few other things going on. So this episode is all about cross stitch with a little bit of life stuff thrown into it, and I want to say a big hello and thank you to all new and returning subscribers. And if you've stumbled across this channel and you like what you see and hear, and you want to see more episodes of what I have to share with you about cross stitch especially, please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and the notification bell as well to receive any notifications for any future episodes that I come up with and can share and post with all of you. And hey, if you've got any questions, comments, or anything about what you see with any of the episodes, hey, definitely drop me a line. Definitely keen to try and engage with you all. It's something that I'm still learning to do. It'll be okay. We'll get there. Okay, so because it's been 3 weeks or so since we've been able to catch up, I have done a fair bit of stitching. A lot of it is connected to the challenge that I've set for myself, that's connected to the Australian Football League, or the AFL, and it the AFL season started about mid-March, and we're now at the 22nd of May, and we're coming to the end of round 10 of the footy season for the AFL, and we've still got several rounds to go until September. And with this challenge that I've been developing over the last 9 to 10 rounds, is I've attributed a few of my cross-stitch projects. Some of them are newer than others, and I've attributed these cross-stitch projects to the different teams that make up the AFL. And with some of the projects that I'm working on, they actually cover multiple teams, so that's where I'm probably going to end up getting a lot more work done on some projects and not so much on other projects, because it's also largely dependent upon the teams actually winning their games and how many points they score as their final score for each round. So yeah, it'll start making sense as I start talking a bit more about what I've worked on. So the first project I have to share with you is the water tiger, and this particular project is by far my oldest project. This particular project is designed by Diana Lair, and the artwork is by J.W. Baker. And this particular project, it would have to be over 15 years old. By memory, I picked up this project, or pattern, from like a craft fair or something that had come to Canberra. It may, if it hadn't been Canberra, it might have been a trip that I did up to Mittagong to the Victoria House Needlework. Victoria Needle House. I really should get that name properly written down, because I've done several trips up to Mittagong to get things from there. But that's beside the point. The point is, with the Water Tiger project, for over the last 3 weeks, I've done a total of 395 stitches. And so this is the project so far, and I've been focusing mostly on the side of the project where we see a lot of the yellow, and I'm just trying to fill in the side of the tiger's head, and I'm leaving the tiger's eyes vacant for the moment, because in the original artwork, the tiger has the amber looking eyes, and I'm stitching this particular project for one of my best mates who loves tigers, and she'll be turning 40 next year. So my aim is to try and get this project done before her birthday, get it framed up and all the rest. So this particular project is connected to the AFL team called the Richmond Tigers. So this is where, Richmond, they're doing fairly well in the football league. And so this is where you may start to see, I guess, a few more, not a few more. You will see this project regularly. That's what I'm trying to say. So the next project I have to share with you is I don't have the cover picture for it, and I don't know if I will remember to include it in my editing of this video. I have fallen off the bandwagon a little bit with editing, so thank you all so much for sticking with me on that one. So this next one I've dubbed Pisces, and it is a combination of a quote that I found on the internet, and this beautiful Pisces, the symbol, and the two fishes that are attributed to the astrology of Pisces. So I've combined the two together, and this particular project is connected to the team called Port Adelaide, and their team colours are black, silver, and teal. So this is, I guess, what I've got done so far. And so this particular project, I've done 244 stitches over the last 3 weeks, and I've been focusing mostly over this area here. It's a really good, dense, mindless stitching because I don't really have to count too much. I'm using Pattern Keeper for this particular project, and it's DMC colours. I think this particular teal colour is 3808, and the quote by memory that I'm using for this project is Pisces. There are two sides of me. Some may tell you that I'm a beautiful soul, while others will tell you that I am a unpleasant person. It's not quite the right wording. I'm going off the top of my head for what the quote is, but either way, I act accordingly. So this particular project's being stitched on, looks like 25 or 28 count fabric. I am stitching it at the moment 2/2, so 2 threads over 2 fabric squares, and this will be interesting. I'm looking forward to actually stitching something other than teal, because the colours of the fish are quite beautiful. They've got these beautiful rainbow colours, and the symbol of for Pisces with the fish is the fish are going in 2 different directions, and it says a lot about the personalities associated, or personality traits associated with the Pisces. So the next project that I've been working on is one of my own designs for hot cross stitching, and hot cross stitching is a side hustle that I've started up roughly 12 months ago. I'm going to need to double check my stats or details and such to properly acknowledge or know when the exact dates were for when I actually started up hot cross stitching and getting the website going and having some patterns uploaded to there. But with the black and white rolled up daisy, this is a photo that I've taken and converted into a cross stitch pattern, and at the moment I'm stitching this on 18 count black Aida and using all DMC colours, and this is what I've gotten done so far, and I'll just do a comparison of what I've done and what the picture looks like. So this is, I guess, a bit of a side by side. So I guess the further I stand back, you can start to see with the cross stitch picture just what my aim is to have it looking as realistic as I practically can. And it is a full coverage project, and it's fully compatible with Pattern Keeper, and it is definitely helping me a lot with doing this stitching. And what my aim with this project is with the background is I'm going to start slowly converting it from full cross to half stitch or 10th stitch, but the flower will continue to be the full cross. And so what I'm also hoping to do with this project is to eventually, I guess, have half of the background stitched and half of the background not stitched, because I want to be able to show everyone that you have the option to either stitch the background or not, but the goal is to stitch it on black fabric because of it, I guess the photo being a black and white photo, and just really making it pop and really stand out. So this particular project is connected to a couple of teams in the AFL, and so also I have done 115 stitches on this particular project, and this project is connected to the Collingwood Magpies, and for a couple of reasons. Where the Collingwood Magpies, their team colours are black and white, and the Australian magpie is also a black and white bird, so it just goes hand in hand. And even though there are shades of grey and what even seems to be some very light shades of pink and purple and such, it just, I think, adds texture to the picture, and if not texture, if just contrast. So that's that particular project. Aside from Collingwood Magpies, the other team this project is connected to is the Adelaide Crows. So again, the Australian crow, it's a black bird, and the team colours for Adelaide Crows is yellow, red and blue. So that's where very early on, when I was trying to figure out how I was going to do all of this with which projects were going to be connected to which team. For a little bit there, the Adelaide Crows were connected to a project that you'll see quite soon called Fight Like a Girl, because of the colours that are in that project. So the next project I have to share with you is another one of my designs for hot cross stitching, and it's called Dewdrop Daisy, and it's become one of my favourites, and it's a project that my boyfriend has been strongly encouraging me to work on a lot, because I have a lot of projects on the go, and I have not finished one of my full coverage projects yet that I've designed. So this is Dewdrop Daisy, and again, it's a photo that I've taken of a flower in my backyard, and this particular project is all DMC colours. It's fully compatible with Pattern Keeper, and I'm stitching this on, I think it's about 25 count, maybe 28 count linen or even weave. So this particular project, I have stitched, how many? 268 stitches. It should be a lot more, but I'll get to it really soon. And to really give you an effect of what this is looking like at the moment, I'll just step back just a bit. So this is looking really cool. I have attributed this particular project to the Fremantle Dockers. And so the Fremantle Dockers, their team colours are purple and white. So because this project is being stitched on purple fabric, and there are some purples in the centre of the flower, that's why I'm attributing this project to the team. And the other thing with this project is, and I've dropped off the bandwagon on this one, my aim with this project is to put 22,000 stitches into this project, because we are in the year of 2022, and this means I would need to put about 62 to 64 about that. Where were we? We were talking about Dewdrop Daisy, and we were also saying that I need to get a move on and get a lot more work done on that particular project. I'm stitching it on 28 count or 25 count 2/2. I'm using all DMC colours on this, and I also need to pick up some more colours, or 2 key colours for the project, and I'll be able to see some huge improvements on it. So the next project that I have to share with you is one called Barnyard Kittens. It's a dimensions kit that I started perhaps back in 2019 for not Whipgo. It was connected to Whipgo last year, I think, but it was for Stitch Mania. So I fell out of love with this particular project. I have attributed this particular project to the AFL team called the Geelong Cats. Their team colours are typically blue and white, and they've got a cat as their animal for the team. And with Barnyard Cats, I have put just 88 stitches in. So I have been focusing on filling in the ginger cat that you can see on the edge of the project. And so to help put into context why some of these projects have got huge numbers, especially with one of the projects you're going to see quite soon. The Geelong Cats, for example, in one of the rounds, because I've got a total of stitches that I've done for rounds 7, 8 and 9 and a smidgen of round 6. In one of those rounds, the Geelong Cats won their game, and their total score was 88 points. So therefore I put 88 stitches into this particular project. I'm stitching it on 14 count black Aida, and I'm using all of the colours that came with the project. So it is going to look really cute when it's done. It's just taking me a bit of time. So the next project I have to share with you is a free pattern that I've downloaded from the Cottage Garden Threads website. Cottage Garden Threads is an Australian business that has been around for a lot longer than what I have realised. So Cottage Garden Threads, they're based down in Victoria, or southern area of Australia, and they I guess collaborated with a designer called Handlebar Stitcher to come up with this particular pattern. And so this particular pattern I've got associated with 3 teams in the AFL. So we've got the North Melbourne Kangaroos, so we've got Kangaroos. We've also got a team called the Essendon Bombers. Bombers as in the old school, very old plane called a bomber. And so their team colours are black and red. So in this particular pattern, and you'll see it on the fabric soon, and a little bit in this pattern that this pattern's got a bit of red in it, and it's a variegated red that goes from quite a dark red to a slightly lighter red. Then I'm also using this pattern for another team called the Gold Coast Suns. So with the Gold Coast Suns, they've got, I've had a mental blank on what their team colours. If I do have any Aussies watching this, you're probably yelling at the TV going, it's these colours. And I get you, it's okay, I'm so sorry. But the fact that it's the Suns, it's it's bright yellow, and we've got, as you can see in the background for this particular project, that you've got the yellow thread, and also the yellow thread's being used for the Australian flower called the wattle. So also with this AFL season at the moment, round 10 being attributed to the Indigenous Week, and also coming up for the Indigenous peoples especially, but it's important for all Australians as well. The NAIDOC week is going to be coming up pretty soon, and also, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, the 3rd of June in particular is a very special anniversary for celebrating the Mabo decision. It's the 30th anniversary of when that decision was formalised and acknowledged, and legislation and everything was put into place for all of that. And again, I'm fumbling my words with this, and my absolute apologies for fumbling the words, because it's really, really important. So with Biscorn-Roo, I have put in a total of 252 stitches. That's covering 3 rounds of football, and this is what I've gotten done so far. So I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida. It's some leftover Aida that I've had from I guess a couple of projects, but at least one project that I worked on many, many moons ago. And I've actually dyed this fabric myself, using a couple of different methods. So I had picked up some fabric dye from my local needlework store, and then as part of some scrapbooking supplies that I have, I've got these little sprays that are normally meant to be help to embellish your scrapbook page and such, but I'm saying a lot, I'm sorry, and I will stop apologising profusely as well. So the couple of colours that I've used for the sprays is an olive green and I think like a lime kind of green, and both of the sprays have a little bit of a glitter in it as well. And the aim with this particular fabric is definitely to stitch an Australian design on this, and I've got quite a lot of fabric here for this particular Biscorn-Roo, so I'll have some leftovers for it as well. And my aim for this leftover fabric, once I'm done stitching, is to use another one of my designs that is available on the Hot Cross Stitching website, and it's called Wattle Biscorn-Roo. It's available for about $5 or so. It's actually might be $10 to $15. Either way, it's a really cheap pattern compared with some of the others that are on the website. And the Biscorn-Roo, it's a really cute little Biscorn-Roo, the design. It's a PDF pattern for download, and the PDF for the Wattle Biscorn-Roo is intended to be stitched on some linen or even weave fabric, but I'm also wanting to try and stitch it on this kind of fabric as well, just to see how it comes up, and whether some of the yellows for the DMC threads get lost on this or not. So it's just a curiosity. So for the Biscorn-Roo, with the 252 stitches, it's mostly been connected to this leaf here, which is going to form the border for the kangaroos. So this is actually really cool, and I'm actually using the coiled 4 threads for Biscorn-Roo as well, which is the 4 cottage garden threads. And I was able to pick up a couple of the threads from my LNS, but I purchased the other couple of threads that I needed via the Cottage Garden Threads website, and their service is really, really good. And I had to really try and restrain myself from not purchasing more of their threads, because they've got such a beautiful, beautiful range of threads. So if you haven't actually had an opportunity to check out their website, definitely go and check it out. And it will be interesting to see if you are able to resist purchasing any of their threads, if you're really into it in embroidery or cross stitch or anything along those lines. And I also want to acknowledge that I am not being paid to endorse Pattern Keeper or Cottage Garden Threads. I just love both both places. I love cottage garden threads, and I also love pattern keepers, so I just wanted to acknowledge that as well. So I also did a little bit of the backstitch that we see for the center here, and so the flowers that we see in the center for this Biscorn-Roo is the representation of another Australian flower called the Waratah, and I have done my best to be as true to the pattern as I can. My ability to follow patterns when it comes to backstitch is something I need to work on. So if nothing else, this pattern is just helping me test that out a little bit, and I'm not too worried about how the Waratah flowers have turned out, because that's the center of the Biscorn-Roo, and there's going to be a button in the center as well to help just give the Biscorn-Roo that dip and shape that makes it unique. So the next project that I have, I don't have the cover page with me for this. It is a Heaven and Earth design, and it's based on the artwork by Amy Stewart, I believe. I hope I haven't gotten her name muddled. Her first name is definitely Amy though, and it is one of the bookshelf designs, and this particular bookshelf design is the Four Seasons one, and it's the simplified edition. It's not the Max Colours one. So this is what I've gotten done so far. The top part that you see where there's a lot of purples and such, that I had started well and truly before the challenge that I've set for myself. But a lot of the greens that we're starting to see here, and especially the browns and such down the bottom here, I connected to a team called the GWS Giants. So the team colours for GWS Giants is mostly like an orange, white, and perhaps a little bit of black, but they are predominantly have the colour orange in their team colours. So that's where I had done quite a lot of this for the team, and that was done back in February, and I have mapped up a little bit on that. So that's what I thought, now I'll work on the green a little bit, fill it in, and then I'll be able to fix the mistakes that I've done with the orange brown colour. So I'm using the Easy Guide fabric on this one. It's 25 count, and I really enjoy this particular fabric with having the grids. So the grids are 10 by 10, which I guess aligns with a lot of the way, it aligns with the way a lot of our cross stitch patterns are set up. So that's where I'm definitely enjoying this kind of fabric. So actually with this one, the bookshelf, I have done 113 stitches on this particular one, and the 113 stitches were definitely in the green, where I've been just trying to fill it in a bit and give it a bit of shape, and it's going to come along. I really would like to dedicate a bit more time to this particular project as time goes on. Unfortunately, GWS aren't doing very well in this particular season, so it will be a bit hit and miss as to when I get to stitch on this for this year at least. So the next project I have to share with you is one that you're going to see quite a lot, partly because I have a couple of teams connected to this project, and one of those teams is doing very well in the AFL at the moment. So the next project I have to share with you is one called Fight Like a Girl. Tanya Amity is the designer, and it's based on the artwork by Elena Zhnedkova. And this particular project I started a while ago, and it's really only been because of the AFL and the teams I've attributed this project to, where it's seen so much more attention. So over the last 3 weeks, I've put a total of 735 stitches in it, and my apologies for the snippet of the back of the pattern. Thankfully this pattern is Pattern Keeper compatible now. Initially it wasn't, but the awesome people who are connected to Pattern Keeper have been able to make some updates, and I can now use Pattern Keeper for this project. So this is where I'm up to at the moment for Fight Like a Girl. I have been working mostly on the edge, and I'll just fold this over just a little bit. So I've been focusing mostly on the books that you can start to see the outline for, and this particular project is connected to a team called the Melbourne Demons. That team is doing really well in the competition at the moment, and their colours are navy blue and red, and so navy blue fabric. This is 18 count Ada, and I'm also connecting this project to another team called the Brisbane Lions, and in this particular project you'll see that we've got a lion in it, and that lion is from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And I also have a third team connected to this project called Carlton Blues. They're also a blue and white team, and they don't actually have any animals or inanimate objects or anything like that attributed to them. So that's where I thought, well, there's a lot of blues in this particular project, and Geelong are doing okay in the season, so they, and I guess Brisbane Lions are doing okay as well, so that's certainly added to the amount of stitching that I've put into this. I do find that I need to be careful of when I'm stitching on this though, where because of the dark fabric I am making sure I've got like a piece of paper or a light coloured towel or something on my lap just to help with seeing the holes. I'm using all of the called for colours in this project, and so I'm stitching it 2 threads over 1 fabric square, and it's going to come along. I'm looking forward to seeing how this project comes alive, and one of the aims that I have with this project, and the good thing with the way the teams are going so far, is that I want to finish this for my niece. My niece is, she would be about 18 months. She'll be turning 2 later this year. And so the good thing is I do have plenty of time. She will probably appreciate this project a lot more when she is able to start reading, especially start reading a lot of the books that are featured in this particular project. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting this one done and give it to her perhaps as a birthday present or Christmas, and yeah, it'll be all good. So the next project I have to share with you is a dictionary of dogs. So this is probably another one of my oldest projects, but not as old as the Water Tiger. So this particular project is connected to a team called the Western Bulldogs, and for this particular project I've been focusing on dogfish. So this particular one here, and this particular project had also featured in one of my Stitch With Me's earlier this year, where I had shared quite a lot of stories about the adventures of Russell, the Jack Russell. So that's where this project has seen a total of 99 stitches, and so I finished off a lot of the purple at the bottom of the fishbowl, and I've started filling in a lot of the colours here, and I've also completed the yellow for the fish that's in this project as well. So yeah, it's coming along quite well, and it's a Bossy Threads kit, and I'm using all of the colours that have come with it, and I'm stitching it on 14 count Ada, two threads over one fabric square. And what else can I say about this one? Not a lot really. This one's actually got variegated thread for the water in the fishbowl, so that was actually being quite nice to stitch on. And I don't know how much work I'll be able to get done for this one, based upon how the team Western Bulldogs are going. We'll wait and see. But this is actually one that I started with the intention of completing for my boyfriend. He loves dogs, and so I've got quite a few other dog themed projects that I want to work on that I then want to combine together to put into a quilt or something along those lines. Those plans might change depending on, I guess, whether or not that's something that he would be okay with me doing for him. So the last project I have to share with you is again a multi-team project, in the sense that it's a project called 12 Days of Christmas. It's a pattern designed by Rona Norrie, and I'm doing something similar to what is in the pattern. So it was designed to be stitched on navy blue fabric, 24 count even weave preferably. That said, this particular pattern is out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas book magazine from the year 2018. It's volume 19. So that said, this particular project I have put 195 stitches in, and this is where I'm up to so far. So I've been focusing mostly on the French hens that are sitting just above the swans. So I've filled in quite a lot of the green around the swans. I've done a lot of the French hens that are looking headless at the moment, and I've just started putting some stitches in for the number 6 as well. So this particular this particular project is connected to the team called the Sydney Swans. My boyfriend and I are supporters of the team, and they've been a little bit hit and miss this season. They are doing well. They are in the top 10. They unfortunately lost their recent game, so I wasn't able to get as many stitches into this. I did miss watching a lot of their game because I've just been really tired recently, and so the other team that's connected to there's actually 2 teams connected to this project. So we've got the St Kilda Saints, and this is a little bit far-ish fetched connection. So with Saints religion, 12 Days of Christmas, Christmas is connected to Christianity. So Christianity has saints in it. So here we go. The other team that's connected to this project is the the West Coast Eagles. West Coast Eagles aren't doing very well this season. I am not sure if they've won any games. If they have, it might have been 1, maybe 2 games. So with the Eagles, I didn't have any Eagle specific projects. And with their team colours, a lot of their team colours are represented in this project as well. I am using all of the DMC called for threads on this one, and I'm stitching this on what looks to be 28 count even weave. I'm not sure on the colour, and I'm stitching it 2 threads, 2 over 2, so 2 threads over 2 fabric squares. And this one's actually got quite a few fractional threads in this, not threads, stitches, which has probably added to my delay in wanting to stitch this project or work on it. And so there are times when I find that I'll be like, yes, I really do want swans to win, but that means I have to work on the project. So I feel a bit mixed about whether or not I want them to win. But I've definitely made a lot more progress on this project because of its inclusion in the challenge that I've set myself for this year and the teams that are connected to this project. So that said, that's pretty much all that I have to share with you stitching wise. And so if you don't want to stick around for life updates or anything like that, I say farewell, and I hope you come back, and that I hope you have enjoyed enough of what you've seen to want to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, and to also want to come back again. So I hope I see you again soon. But if you're sticking around for just a little bit more of this particular channel, I'm also seeing what the time is, so I'm going to keep this quick. So I mentioned that I'm just feeling tired. I did get a cold, got tested. I think I might have mentioned that at the start of this episode. So as much as I believe that I didn't get COVID, I know near certain, sorry, things are starting to fall a little bit off the table. I'm just feeling really tired, and it could be a combination of things. It could be the weather. Here in Australia, we are getting very close to winter time, so it could be the fact that I'm not drinking enough water. I'm probably drinking too much coffee. The coffee makes me dehydrated. We go around in circles. It could also be that I'm still recovering from the cold that I've had, so my energy levels still aren't quite there, but I'm still trying to get back into going to the gym and working really hard at the gym to try and remain as fit as I can, whilst trying to change my body shape in terms of reducing the amount of fat that I'm carrying. And there's also the factor that with work at the moment, it's a good learning curve. So over the last couple of weeks, there have been some changes to my work in a positive way. I'm not going to go into details or anything like that, but it's just helping me to develop my skills, the things that are happening there at the moment, and I think that's adding to why I'm feeling so tired as well, because a lot of the times at the end of the day, I am just really physically looking really tired. My eyes especially are very tired because a part of my work is needing me to look at the computer screen quite a lot. So it could be that dry eye, tired feeling. I'm working from home. We have the heater on a bit as well. So that's all of those things are just very much adding to just feeling tired and run down. The good thing though is, as part of recovering a bit from being a bit sick, I did do a little bit of SWEWE, which is an acronym of stitching what I want when I want. So I did still work, as you saw, on the projects that are connected to the challenge that I've set for myself, but I also got to put a little bit of work in some projects that I've missed working on, and I've chosen not to include them in this particular episode because I guess that the ones that I'll be working on intermittently, I won't really be featuring them too much, and I'm hoping that I can start to include them into my rotation, perhaps at the end of this year, if not sometime next year. I mean, who knows as to whether I'm going to do this AFL challenge, stitching challenge or not, and if I do, how can I incorporate some of those projects that you haven't seen yet into that? It could be a lot more to do with the team colours and how those team colours are featured in the projects. So it's something that I'm definitely going to end up considering a bit. So I'm going to call it a day. It's been eventful. It's going to be okay. I hope it's not too long between drinks, between us catching up. So it is something where I've also said so quite a lot as well. I do wonder how many times I have said and so and some of those other joining words. Who knows? It'll be okay. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for sticking with me. And I will hopefully see you in about 2 weeks. We do have here in Australia a couple of long weekends coming up. So this coming weekend, Monday the 30th of May, is a public holiday for Canberra at least. And it'll be Reconciliation Day, a very special day for Indigenous peoples. So that'll be a nice celebration for people involved with that day. And then a couple of weeks after that, we will have the Queen's birthday long weekend. Here in Australia, it'll be a mostly national holiday. I think most states will be having that day off. So that's where I'll hopefully be able to get a bit more stitching done and hopefully a recording done at some point on those weekends. But until then, I hope you're all safe and well and warm or cool, depending on where you are. And I have no doubt that I will see you soon. Actually, before I do wrap up, one of the positive things, a couple of positive things that have happened that is actually connected a little bit to my Flosstube name. So part of my slogan is to stitch every day, run when I can. So that's why I'm called the Cross Stitching Runner. Today I went for a run and I had no pain, next to no pain, and for me that is a huge thing. So the aim of why I'm remembering this and sharing this with you all is I'm going to be participating in a 5k fun run that was cancelled last year because of the pandemic, and so I've entered into the event this year and I'm going to do it. And initially I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to participate in the event because I guess off and on over the last couple of years I've been experiencing a bit of pain in my Achilles area, some tightness in my calf muscles, especially in the right foot or in the right leg, and I've been working on it with the help of my personal trainer and physio. And the significance of today with going for the run was that it was a 5k run. It was a path that I've run several times over the years, and it was something where I wasn't sure how my foot would go, and it was actually with the way the weather was this morning and my fitness that it was actually more my fitness going, okay, you haven't run this distance for a while, ease up a bit. So it was more my fitness that sort of was causing me to walk a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with walking a bit as part of the training process for running. So that's where I was just, felt really, really good, really chuffed with all of that. And also with yesterday, I actually got to catch up with a really good mate of mine. With this mate of mine, Kath, her and I, we try to catch up when we can. We both have busy lives, different things that are happening, and I actually got to do a day class that she was teaching on tarot cards. And Kath, if by chance you're watching this and you've made it this far into this episode, thank you. But also, Kath, thank you so much for that particular class as well. I really enjoyed it. I loved it, and it helped to give me confidence in what my understanding is with the tarot cards, how I interpret them, how I understand them, and the messages that they can provide, but also acknowledging that it's more about the intuition, and that the tarot cards can be a tool to just help with perhaps confirming some of that intuition that might be happening where might be a little bit doubtful, where I might be doubting myself in terms of the intuition, and it just might be some things that it will just help to remind me, like, hey, keep an eye out on this or that or anything in between. So thank you all for letting me ramble a little bit, share a bit of life of what's been going on, and I really hope I will see you all in a couple of weeks.